All right, Rob.
That's right.
You clearly want to go off. Let's recap quickly, and then I'll give you the floor. 1917, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers do get the win over the Patriots in the return game. And you mentioned that it was boring. Here's what obviously it wasn't a great game, right?
Nobody's going to sit here and try to convince anybody of that because that would be BS.
What it reminded me of, Rob, and I used to cover these games as I was the backup Knicks writer at the time.
Who was the Knicks head
Selena Roberts.
Selena Roberts.
You remember Selena?
She
was tremendous. Yeah. She was great. And anyway, this reminds me of the late 90s Knicks Miami Heat rivalry. And we were those playoff series. Now, the game would be something like, so you covered those, so you know.
Because I was with Newsday at that time, Chris, so I remember all that.
I wasn't sure if you had already gone to Detroit or not. Okay. Yeah. You know this, Rob. The final score would be something like 77-74.
Yep.
81-79, something. And the games, look, I love Ewing. I love Alonzo Mourning. I love Tim Hardaway, all that. It actually wasn't even much of Ewing at that point. But, Ewing was still in there. So it's Spreewell and all these guys.
Right.
But
Allen Houston.
Yeah. The games were not great games. Very low scoring, very physical. That era, particularly with those two teams, it was just beating each other up. And so it wasn't that aesthetically pleasing, and the games for the first 40 minutes weren't that great. But it always came down to the last 2 or 3 minutes, And because of that, because with 6 minutes to play, it was going to be a 2-point game, and you didn't know who was going to win, and every possession was going to count. It ended up being great because it was dramatic and you're on the edge of your seat and you're into it. That was what last night reminded me of, Rob. Wasn't well played for the first 40-whatever minutes, 50-something minutes. But because the end was in doubt and you didn't know, there was suspense, there was drama, so that made it entertaining and interesting. But overall, it wasn't a well-played game.
No. And we get the rain, but both sides had the rain, and it wasn't the greatest conditions. But that's football, right? We've seen
great. I've seen great.
I mean, I've seen great game. Right? He played there for 20 years. Right. He knows New England. You could have a change of weather, especially early October in New England. Absolutely. But anyway, I'm with you. That's what it was. It was a bore for the most part. The score, of course, makes it feel better. And then, of course, like you said, the game was in the balance. But again, as I've been saying, and I'm the one who coined the phrase, because I remember after Tom Brady won his sixth Super Bowl, I was asked about, okay, are you on board or whatever? Or was it the fifth one? Now, maybe it's the fifth one. After he won the fifth one. No, it was the fifth one. Against Atlanta, where Atlanta didn't kick the field goal, whatever, and they choked that game down.
That was six.
That was it. It was five.
Was that five? That was five.
Because six was against the Rams when he didn't throw a touchdown in that one.
Right.
That was six. But anyway, Tom Brady is not the GOAT, and last night he remains the LOAT, the luckiest of all time. Chris sat here on Thursday before I left and told me how Tom Brady was going to tear to shreds. Chris, do you remember the numbers you said?
Yep,
4 touchdowns, 400 yards. He was going to make Bill Belichick and make them pay and blah, 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 blah. And guess what? Tom Brady was average to below average. No touchdowns. He completed like 55% of his pass. It was just
I think it was lower than that, about 51.
51%. You're right. 51%. 51.2. He had 269 yards, no touchdowns, and a passer rating of 70.8. It was a clunker, a stinker. But yes, Tom Brady gets the win, and everybody goes, look at Tom Brady, led them down for the field goal and the winning drive.
That is true.
But he got help, Chris, because the Patriots had a chance to win the game. And what happens? It hits the upright. That's Tom Brady.
It was a 56-yarder.
It don't matter. I just saw a 56-yarder in Detroit last week.
It's a different kicker.
All right? I just saw it. It's doable in this man's NFL.
He got a stronger leg.
But Tom Brady, again, is so lucky. So he walks away and he wins the night because he won the game and he stuck it to the Patriots and they cheered him before game and they gave him a video tribute and they applauded when he passed Drew Brees. And so Tom Brady should have walked out of that Foxborough and Gillette Stadium with a big fat L in a game the Bucs have no business losing to that team. The Patriots aren't that good, Chris. They got a rookie quarterback, but their defense.
Who played well.
No, he did. But I'm just saying, going into that game, you didn't expect that. Didn't you expect them to win by 2 touchdowns?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I'm saying.
I think, Rob, and I'll give you this. You brought up that it ended in typical Tom Brady fashion with, to use your words, a lucky play that enabled Brady to win.
Yep.
I would say it did end in typical Tom Brady fashion, but I'd give you a different spin. It ended with him doing what he's known for, a game-winning drive to win it in the end. That's what he's known for. So it was apropos that in his return to New England, maybe his last game there for all we know, he goes in there and wins it like he did so many times with a game-winning drive and a field goal. You love giving Adam Vinatieri all the credit, and he deserves because it's a field goal.
I wish the Patriots would have had Adam Vinatieri last night.
Unless they get rid of the field goal, it's legitimate. And so Tom Brady did what Tom Brady does. Now, I'll give you this, Rob. I do think Mac Jones outplayed Brady. I think the rookie played better. But I will say this, too. Brady did have and potentially has some big moments. Like, he could have gotten close. He wouldn't have got 400. But he could have been close. I actually said between 350 and 450. He could have gotten close to 350. He had the 44-yard pass to Antonio Brown that was nullified, because of an offensive foul on an offensive lineman. And then, Robbie, and I think you will admit this, he threw 2 great balls at the end of the game in that last drive to Antonio Brown that AB should have caught either one of them. The one, he lost it in the air. Like, it was a nicely placed pass where only AB could have caught it, and he just seemed to lose it in the lights, in the air, whatever. He didn't know where it was. So that was a great pass from Brady that AB mishandled. And then I don't know if it was the next play, but a minute later, he hits AB with a beautiful pass. AB dove for it, had it, should have caught it. As an elite receiver, which he is, he should have came down with that ball, and the story would not have been the missed field goal at the end of the game that gave Brady the win. It would have been a wonderful pass. After a mediocre game at best, he delivers in the clutch.
But that didn't happen.
Obviously, it didn't happen. Here's where, and I'll even go this far, Rob. Not only did Mac Jones outplay Brady, but Bill Belichick coached a better game than Brady played.
There's no doubt about it. Bill, as usual, had his defense ready.
Yep.
And this is the big argument we had the other day. And I know we want to, you want to give Brady all the credit. Oh, yeah. I just think that there are some Super Bowls that were Bill Belichick Super Bowls where the defense was terrific. And they've stopped the Rams, the greatest show on turf. And they stopped Sean McVay's Rams that averaged 33 points, 32.9 points a game, and stuff like that where they got 3 points. So Belichick's had his moments where his defense has been stellar.
He's been a great coach. I've called Belichick the GOAT. I've never taken credit away from Belichick for his great defenses and those Super Bowls. He's got 6, 8 if you count him as a defensive coordinator in New York. But if you have to pick which player, which guy, if you're forced to pick was more responsible for those Super Bowls, or, the dynasty, let's just put it that way, the dynasty, there's no doubt in my mind I'm going Brady. Now, that doesn't nullify the greatness of Belichick, but Brady, I would say, without question, was more responsible because the turnaround began with him and ended with him, not to mention everything in between. But here's the one thing I question Belichick on, Rob, and I like your thoughts on this. At the end of the game, 4th and 3, 59 seconds left, 56-yard field goal. I think he should have gone for the first down because Mac Jones was moving the ball.
Okay.
The Buccaneers' defense, particularly the secondary, was a mess, and Richard Sherman just got picked on all night. I get his first game back right.
He ain't ready, right?
He ain't ready.
He ain't ready.
They exploited him, right? He ain't ready, and they exploited him.
And they
so I think they could have gotten the first, right? And then you get a shorter field goal, and you don't leave time for Brady. Because I'll say this, Rob, and if you look at it objectively, not with your bias, but
I don't have bias.
If you have a bias against Brady, it's fine. It's fine. It's cool. I ain't got no problem with it, but it is. It's obvious. But had he made that field goal, Nick Folks, with 59 seconds left, I firmly believe Brady would have marched down and got a field goal. It ain't that hard to march down. You know that, to get in the field goal position.
No, we see it every other game in the NFL.
Thank you.
But I don't know why the defenses, they don't go after the quarterback. They play back. And a team, I don't care what team it is, they might not have been able to move the football all game, and then they get into the last 45 seconds, Chris, and they move the ball 60 yards.
Exactly.
I don't like all game you couldn't move the ball, and now you have no timeouts, 45 seconds, and boom, 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 you're down in field goal range.
Yep. I don't get it. You know why? Right. It's they go 2 minute.
Right.
You know, the defense is a little softer. But yeah, so I just think I get it. If that kick is a foot, 6 inches to a foot to the right, we're having a whole different conversation. But in that rain, Rob, he hadn't kicked a 56-yard field goal since 2010 or, made one. So I just think it was I think he should have went for it because I think at the end of the day, even if he made it, Brady would have come back and got them in field goal position.